Imagine a cozy winter evening, the smell of something delicious wafting from the oven, the sound of your favorite music in the background, and the knowledge that every bite on your plate is doing something good for your health. For those of us in our golden years, especially as we ease into our late 60s and beyond, this sense of warmth and comfort feels more important than ever. Winter can be a challenging season. Colder weather often keeps us indoors. We might see fewer of our friends and loved ones, and our energy can dip. But what if I told you that some of the simplest choices we make in the kitchen right now can strengthen our natural defenses and boost our sense of vitality? In other words, you could roast your way to better immunity at 70, no fancy supplements required. One challenge many older adults face is figuring out which foods are genuinely beneficial when the choices seem endless. We hear new advice every other month about superfoods or the latest miracle diet. Often this information is geared toward younger audiences, leaving seniors like us feeling overlooked. And if you've been on this planet for 7 decades or more, you've probably seen nutrition trends come and go. Low fat in the 1980s, low carb in the 2000s, paleo keto. The list is endless. It's enough to make anyone's head spin. Add that to the realities of our changing tastes and appetites, along with the need to carefully watch our nutrient intake to maintain strong bones and support our immune system. And it can be difficult to figure out what truly works for us at this stage. Here's why it matters. As we age, our immune response naturally becomes less robust. That doesn't mean we're doomed to frequent colds or feeling run down all winter, but it does mean we benefit greatly from choosing foods that pack a nutrient punch, especially foods loaded with vitamins, antioxidants, and minerals that specifically support immune health. By giving our bodies these vital building blocks, we can experience steadier energy levels, potentially fend off common illnesses more easily, and enjoy each winter day with more confidence in our health. Plus, cooking at home, especially roasting, can be a truly joyful experience. There's something comforting about the warmth of the oven, the sizzle of vegetables on a baking sheet, and the delicious aromas filling your kitchen. It can turn mealtime into a little celebration of self-care. Today, we're focusing on 4 seasonal vegetables that are absolute powerhouses when it comes to immunity. You'll learn why roasting is such a great option. Much of the flavor intensifies, and you don't lose as many nutrients as you might with other cooking methods. We'll challenge a few misconceptions, share stories of real seniors who found surprising benefits, and reveal practical tips for making these veggies work for you, even if you have certain dietary restrictions or mobility considerations. My promise is that by the end of our conversation, you'll see how simple it can be to enhance your immune support this winter just by adding, or slightly tweaking, a few delicious additions to your weekly menu. As a longtime wellness coach who spent years advising older adults on ways to navigate nutrition without sacrificing the joy of food, I've witnessed countless transformations that began with small, easy steps in the kitchen. While I'm not a medical doctor, and this isn't medical advice, I'll share insights rooted in what I've observed, as well as general trends in nutritional research. If you have specific concerns, such as managing a chronic condition or juggling multiple medications, always talk to your healthcare provider before making any major changes. But if you're ready to discover how 4 common, affordable winter vegetables can help you feel more resilient and vibrant, you're in the right place. Stay with me, and let's explore these roasted wonders that can turn your winter meals into immunity-building feasts. Let's start by looking at one of the most beloved and frequently underestimated vegetables of the season. You may think you already know it well, but I'm going to challenge some assumptions that often stop us from fully reaping its benefits. The first vegetable on our list is the humble sweet potato. Many people think of sweet potatoes as a holiday treat, something topped with marshmallows or drenched in butter at Thanksgiving. But a lot of seniors mistakenly believe sweet potatoes have too much natural sugar to be a regular part of a healthy diet. While it's true they taste sweet, they're also packed with nutrients that can help support our aging immune systems. Let's consider Alice, a 72-year-old retiree who used to avoid anything with the word sweet in it. She grew up hearing that sugar was the enemy, and by her 70s, she feared developing type 2 diabetes. Her concern was well placed. Blood sugar management is a priority for many older adults. Alice's misconception was that anything with a sweet taste had to be off limits. Then she discovered that sweet potatoes, despite their natural sweetness, have a low glycemic index compared to white potatoes. That means they release sugar slowly into the bloodstream, offering a steadier supply of energy rather than a quick spike and crash. So, what makes sweet potatoes particularly beneficial for seniors this winter? They're rich in beta-carotene, which our bodies convert into vitamin A. Research suggests that vitamin A is crucial for healthy mucous membranes, one of the body's first lines of defense against germs trying to invade through the mouth, nose, or eyes. Sweet potatoes also contain vitamin C and potassium, which can help support healthy blood pressure and proper immune function. Essentially, they're a winter all-star when it comes to overall resilience. The best part is, roasting sweet potatoes is both simple and incredibly tasty. Here's a straightforward approach. Preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, around 200 degrees Celsius. Slice the sweet potatoes into evenly sized cubes or wedges, leaving the skin on if you like, because it's a great source of fiber. Drizzle with a bit of heart-healthy oil such as olive or avocado oil. If you're watching your sodium intake, go light on the salt. You can add herbs like rosemary or thyme for extra flavor. And if you're feeling adventurous, sprinkle on a touch of cinnamon for a naturally sweet aroma that smells like the holidays. Roast for about 25 to 30 minutes or until they're golden and fork tender. Physically, you'll benefit from a steady source of complex carbohydrates and essential vitamins. You'll likely notice that your energy feels stable, with fewer mid-afternoon slumps, a small but significant difference when you're trying to stay active, even indoors. Emotionally, there's a joy in knowing you're treating yourself to something sweet while also nourishing your body. It's the culinary equivalent of having your cake and eating it too, minus the sugar crash. One tip for those with arthritis or limited hand strength. Slicing raw sweet potatoes can be tough if you're dealing with stiff joints. In that case, consider microwaving them for a minute or two first. This softens them just enough to make cutting easier. And if you have any concerns about how adding sweet potatoes might interact with your current diet, especially if you're managing diabetes or kidney issues, talk to your doctor or a nutritionist. The key is to find a balance that works for you. After giving sweet potatoes a try, don't be surprised if you find yourself reaching for them every time the temperature drops. They're one of the easiest, most comforting vegetables you can roast, and the nutritional payoff is huge. But sweet potatoes are only one piece of the puzzle. Let's look at a second vegetable that often divides opinion. Some people adore it, others run the other way. But once you learn its benefits, you might reconsider any past biases. That second winter star is Brussels sprouts. Picture small, round, leafy green orbs that seem to pop up at every holiday dinner. If you grew up in an era when Brussels sprouts were typically boiled into a mushy, bitter mess, you might have sworn them off decades ago. A surprising number of older adults think, they're too bitter and they won't do my health any favors. Let's set that misconception straight. Consider James, age 68, who genuinely disliked Brussels sprouts for years. Whenever they showed up on a buffet, he walked right past them. However, last winter, during a family get-together, his daughter roasted them with garlic and a touch of balsamic vinegar. Intrigued by the inviting aroma, James gave them one more shot. He discovered that the roasting process caramelizes the natural sugars in Brussels sprouts, reducing the bitterness he loathed. To his shock, they were delicious, crispy on the outside, tender on the inside, and full of flavor. Brussels sprouts, like other cruciferous vegetables, think broccoli and cabbage, are loaded with vitamin C and vitamin K. Vitamin C isn't just for fighting off the common cold. It also supports various cellular functions in our immune system. And vitamin K is vital for bone health and proper blood clotting, two things that become increasingly important as we age. Additionally, Brussels sprouts contain a compound called sulforaphane. Early studies suggest that sulforaphane may help protect cells from damage, which is especially valuable when our cells are more vulnerable due to age-related changes. How can you bring out the best in Brussels sprouts? Preheat your oven to about 400 degrees Fahrenheit, 200 degrees Celsius. Rinse and pat them dry. Slice them in half lengthwise, toss them with a small amount of olive oil, and season lightly with salt, pepper, or even a pinch of paprika. Then spread them out on a baking sheet, giving each sprout enough space so they roast rather than steam. and bake for 20 to 25 minutes until the outer leaves get browned and slightly crisp. If you want to add extra flavor, drizzle a bit of balsamic glaze in the final 5 minutes of roasting. That sweet, tangy finish makes them even more appealing. Beyond the physical benefits like stronger immune defenses and better bone support, there's something almost triumphant about conquering a childhood dislike and finding a new favorite. Emotionally, James felt a sense of accomplishment when he found a healthier way to enjoy a vegetable he once despised. It became a symbol of adaptation, proof that even in our late 60s or beyond, we can still surprise ourselves with new experiences and joys. Of course, if you have sensitivities related to foods in the cabbage family, perhaps you find they cause bloating or gas. You can start with small servings to see how your body responds. A conversation with a healthcare professional can also guide you if you're dealing with digestive concerns. Before we move on to our next two vegetables, I'd love to know, have you ever rediscovered a food you once hated and ended up loving it? It's amazing how a fresh cooking approach, or simply a different stage of life, can change our tastes. If you have a similar story, keep it in mind as you discover new ways to nourish yourself this winter. Now let's continue our exploration with a vegetable that's naturally vibrant in color and equally vibrant in health benefits. Our third pick might look a bit like a holiday ornament because of its bold, jewel-toned exterior. The beet. Many seniors overlook beets, worried about staining their hands or concerned they won't enjoy the earthy flavor. The misconception here is that beets are too messy or too strong tasting to be worth the trouble. The truth is, when properly roasted, beets turn sweet and mellow, and the colorful juice can be managed with simple kitchen tricks. Look at Mildred, who's 75 and absolutely proud of her tidy kitchen. She avoids any recipe that might result in extra scrubbing, so naturally beets weren't at the top of her list. Then one autumn afternoon, she read an article saying that roasted beets could support circulation and overall cardiovascular health, key concerns for her, given her mildly elevated blood pressure. Beets are rich in nitrates, which your body converts into nitric oxide. Nitric oxide helps relax blood vessels, potentially improving blood flow. They also deliver folate and potassium, which are nutrients that can assist with blood pressure regulation. Inspired, Mildred decided to give them a try, but with a method that minimized the potential mess. One easy strategy is to peel and slice beets on a cutting board lined with parchment paper. Or even better, use disposable gloves if you're concerned about stained fingers. Mildred found that wearing a simple pair of kitchen gloves was all she needed to keep her hands spotless. After slicing the beets into wedges, she drizzled them with a bit of olive oil, sprinkled on some black pepper, and roasted them at 400 degrees Fahrenheit, 200 degrees Celsius, for about 30 to 35 minutes. The result? Tender, naturally sweet beet slices that had her questioning why she waited so long to try them. Beyond the potential cardiovascular benefits, beets also contain antioxidants like betalains, which help reduce inflammation. For seniors managing arthritis or other inflammatory conditions, that's significant. And if you're thinking about your immune system, remember that inflammation can affect how well your body defends itself. Taming chronic inflammation, even slightly, can offer an indirect boost to immunity. Psychologically, there's something about the deep red hue that feels nurturing. Color therapy aside, it's a bright, lively addition to a winter plate that often features browns and beiges. That burst of color can lift your mood, especially on gray, chilly days. If you're worried about the taste being too earthy, try pairing roasted beets with a few slices of roasted sweet potatoes or carrots. The natural sweetness balances the flavor nicely, and if you want to explore further, you can even blend roasted beets into soups or salads for an extra nutrient kick. As always, check with your doctor if you have any kidney concerns or conditions that require caution with foods high in certain minerals. Beets do have a fair amount of oxalates, which can be an issue for kidney stones in some individuals. Moderation, though, generally works well for most. Remember, small changes can make a big impact. Mildred started roasting beets once a week, and within a couple of months, she felt more energetic during her daily walks and was proud of herself for embracing something new. If you're up for experimenting, I encourage you to roast a small batch of beets. You might find yourself pleasantly surprised. We've talked about sweet potatoes, Brussels sprouts, and beets so far, each offering unique vitamins, antioxidants, and flavors that support our bodies in the winter months. Our final vegetable is a personal favorite of many home cooks, and it's easier to include in your diet than you might think. That fourth winter champion is butternut squash. People often lump squash together in the same category, but butternut squash has a particularly creamy texture and nutty flavor that shines when roasted. Some older adults shy away from any large winter squash because they assume it's a hassle to peel and cut. There's a misconception that butternut squash is only good for pureed soups or that it's just too cumbersome to deal with if you have arthritis or limited hand strength. Let's challenge that assumption. Bob, who is 69, used to love the taste of butternut squash, but hadn't cooked it himself for years. He'd read it was full of vitamins and great for immunity, but he cringed at the idea of wrestling with a big knife. Then he discovered a few shortcuts. One trick is to buy pre-cut butternut squash, which many grocery stores now sell in the fresh produce or frozen section. Another is to slice off the top and bottom, poke a few small holes in the squash, and then microwave it for 2 or 3 minutes. The squash softens just enough that the skin and flesh are simpler to manage. Bob tried the microwave method, used a sturdy vegetable peeler, and found the whole process surprisingly doable. Why is butternut squash worth the trouble? Like sweet potatoes, it's high in beta-carotene, converted into vitamin A, which supports healthy skin and mucous membranes, key barriers between you and harmful pathogens. It also provides fiber, vitamin C, and potassium. For immunity specifically, the combination of vitamins A and C is like an antioxidant tag team, helping your body fend off free radicals and maintain a more robust defense system. If you're looking for a cozy evening meal that won't weigh you down, roasted butternut squash can be a centerpiece. Roasting butternut squash is straightforward. Set your oven to about 400 degrees Fahrenheit, 200 degrees Celsius. Peel and cube the squash, or use pre-cut pieces. Toss the cubes with olive oil and a light sprinkle of salt, pepper, and perhaps a dash of nutmeg or cinnamon for a hint of sweetness. Roast them for about 25 to 30 minutes, turning halfway through. The edges get beautifully caramelized, offering a rich flavor that pairs well with chicken, fish, or even lentils if you're exploring plant-based proteins. On the emotional front, Bob shared that finally mastering butternut squash felt like reclaiming a piece of his autonomy. "If I can figure this out," he said, "what else can I do in the kitchen that I've been avoiding?" A seemingly small victory, yes, but these are the moments that remind us we can continue learning and growing at any age. The sense of enjoyment when you taste that sweet, creamy squash fresh from the oven can't be overstated. It's a tangible way to nourish your body and spirit at once. Before we recap, I'd love to pause and invite you to think about which of these vegetables intrigues you the most. Maybe you're already a fan of one, but have sworn off another. Consider challenging yourself to pick the one you're most unsure about and give it a try. Now let's pull all these ideas together and talk about how these roasted gems can truly make a difference for your immunity and your quality of life this winter and beyond. When you look at sweet potatoes, Brussels sprouts, beets, and butternut squash side by side, it's like assembling a winter dream team. Each brings its own set of immune-supporting vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. Together, they create a palette of flavors and colors that make mealtime feel like a celebration. We've covered how to handle each vegetable safely and easily, from pre-cut options to microwave tricks, plus seasoning ideas that bring out their best traits. The real secret is that by choosing these foods consistently, you're giving your body the raw materials it needs to defend itself against seasonal threats. This is more important than many people realize. Our immune system isn't just a single thing in the body. It's an entire network of cells, tissues, and organs that depend on adequate nutrients to function. As we get older, that network can become less efficient. The good news? When we support it with nutrient-dense, antioxidant-rich foods, we bolster our chances of staying strong and energetic. And let's not forget about the intangible benefits. The joy of cooking, the comfort of a warm meal, the sense of pride in creating something both tasty and good for you. There's a common worry that making lifestyle changes takes too much time, money, or effort, especially when you're dealing with age-related concerns. But the truth is, roasting vegetables doesn't have to break the bank or your back. It can be as simple as picking up a few fresh items at your local grocery store once a week, investing a small amount of time in prep, and letting the oven do most of the work. Frozen pre-cut vegetables can also be a great alternative if fresh produce or hand strength is an issue. If you're on medication or have conditions like diabetes, kidney issues, or high blood pressure, simple adjustments like going lighter on salt or minding portion sizes can make these veggies more suitable for you. Always remember to keep your healthcare provider in the loop if you have any big concerns about diet changes. But for most people, adding a roasted vegetable to your dinner plate is a low-risk, high-reward move. Let's consider the urgency. Winter doesn't last forever, but the cold months can be a time when our defenses are tested. The earlier you start experimenting with immune-supportive foods, the sooner you may feel those subtle but meaningful shifts, like improved energy or fewer sniffles. And sometimes seeing a small improvement is all the motivation you need to keep going. Why wait until you're already battling a winter cold to pay attention to your body's defenses? By incorporating these colorful, delicious vegetables now, you're proactively setting yourself up for a more comfortable season. Picture yourself a couple of months from now, plating a beautiful array of roasted sweet potatoes, Brussels sprouts, beets, and butternut squash. It's a meal full of natural color and flavor, and each bite has a direct line to your well-being. You might be sitting down with your spouse, a friend, or even enjoying a quiet dinner by yourself with a good book. But in that moment, you'll know you've taken a step, however small or large, toward a more vibrant, immune-resilient version of yourself. That's real progress, and it's something to feel proud of. If you're feeling inspired, here are a few next steps. First, choose just one of these vegetables to roast this week. Keep it simple. No need to aim for perfection. Second, share your experience with a friend, family member, or even a neighbor. Sometimes talking about these little victories encourages others to try them as well, sparking a community of healthier winter dinners. If you'd like an added challenge, try 2 vegetables in one roasting pan or experiment with different seasonings. If you're ready to deepen your knowledge, you might check out a senior-focused cooking class online or look for a local group that shares healthy recipes. And if you're someone who likes to track progress, keep a small food journal. You can note any changes in how you feel, energy levels, digestion, even mood. Finally, remember that you are your own best advocate. You've lived through decades of changing health fads and probably learned a thing or two about what truly sticks. Listen to your body, consider your personal tastes, and don't be afraid to adapt these suggestions as needed. When you combine self-awareness with a willingness to try something new, you unleash a powerful force for positive change, no matter your age. May these 4 winter vegetables, sweet potatoes, Brussels sprouts, beets, and butternut squash, bring warmth and comfort to your table. May they nurture both your body and spirit, reminding you that even small actions can lead to big benefits. You deserve the feeling of confidence that comes from knowing you're supporting your immune system while indulging in flavors you love. Here's to a cozy, healthy winter season filled with delicious meals and the comforting knowledge that you're caring for yourself in every bite you take.